All right, and then we move into this one. It says the picture shows a blue parallelogram split into 2 equal parts. Okay, and a red parallelogram split into 12 equal parts. Okay, drag figures into each box so that their total area is equal to the number given. Okay, so the first thing I would highly recommend doing is figuring out the area of one piece. So when I'm doing this, I'm using a notebook or a whiteboard or something to write on where I can keep track of how much each of these is. So I know that the first thing I have is a trapezoid, and that trapezoid is going to be worth half of the parallelogram it is. So 16 times 6 divided by 2, just like we did with the last one. 16 times 6 is 96, divided by 2 is 48. So I know one trapezoid is 48 centimeters squared. So when I'm looking down here, I'm going to try and figure out how many sets of 48 can make 192 or 75 or 222. Oh, did anybody else do the Glenn Lerner song when they were reading this? I definitely did. But again, that number for this trapezoid is 48 centimeters squared. Okay? And then we need to find the triangle. Now remember, there are 12 triangles. So when I find the area of the triangle, I'm going to multiply the 36 times 5 and then divide by 12 because I'm looking for one triangle. Okay, so again, that's 36, the base, times 5, the height of the parallelogram, divided by 12, the number of triangles. And that's going to give me 15 centimeters squared. Okay? Now, I know for sure that some of these aren't going to go directly because they want us to do some sort of mixing and matching. So if this right here is 48, I'm going to see how many 48s I can get to get as close to 192 as I can. So I'm going to take my 192, my total, and divide it by 48 to see how many trapezoids I need to get that area. And it says exactly 4. So I don't need any triangles for this one. I just need to put 4 trapezoids here. Okay? And again, you can use the math help if you need it. It's there for you. Okay? So it says decomposing the figure into smaller pieces, which is kind of what we did to find the area. Okay? That's one option. The other help says that the area of the trapezoid can be found by thinking about the parallelogram. Okay? And that's kind of what we did. We looked at the parallelogram and divided by 2, so we're on the right track. If you're still having trouble though and you've tried, go ahead and use that teacher help. That teacher is there to support you during this time of e-learning, so don't be afraid of that, okay? Now the next one we have was 75 centimeters. So I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to take 75 and I'm going to divide it by 48. Ooh. That's not fun. But I do know that there's 1 in there. So if I take one trapezoid out, now instead of dividing, I'm going to subtract to see how much I have left. Okay, so if I've got to get to 75 minus 48, and I have to have a total, 27 isn't divisible by 15. But if I wanted to check, I could. And it doesn't work. So I'm going to guess that I'm supposed to do this whole thing with triangles. So I'm going back to my 75 and I'm dividing it by the 15 centimeters squared that we know each triangle is. And that gives me 5. So I know that this one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now we go to this 222. 22. Sorry, it's 222. Okay, 222. And since it's even, I'm going to start with the 48 centimeter trapezoid because I know that it'll probably divide close to evenly into this. And 15 is odd, so that's going to just make it trickier. So if I divide this by 48, I'm going to get 4.625. Not exactly what I want, but I can take 4 of them out. So let's move 4 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, 4 was 192. So I'm going to take my 222 and subtract my 192 from the total, and I'm going to get 30, okay? So 30 is divisible by 15. So I'm going to divide that by 15, and I'm going to get 2 triangles. So I'm going to add that here to my total. 2 triangles, and that should give me the total area of 222. Again, we can always go back to that math help if we're not getting it and ask the teacher. But we don't need to because we got it right. Great job. Moving on. Okay, we got this really weird shape. Really weird shape. I wonder what they're going to ask us to do with it. The figure is formed by a right triangle, a parallelogram with the height of 6, and a square. Tama found that the area of the figure is 34 and that the perimeter is 50. Which statement is true? Okay. Are both her answers correct? Well, I don't know. I think we need to break it down. We'd have to look at the square first. So what's 4 times 4? 16. So I'm going to write that down on my notebook. 16 centimeters squared, because I know I'm going to have to add that to the next piece. Now I have a parallelogram here, okay, but this parallelogram we don't know the base for right now. Oh yes, we do. The height is 6, it says, okay? So if this is 6 and this is 7, 6 times 7 equals 42. So I'm going to write that down too. 42 centimeters. Okay? And we know this is a right triangle with a base of 4 because this whole thing has been the same, right? So this is 4 and the height is 3. And remember, with a triangle, we have to divide by 2. So we're going to do 4 times 3 divided by 2. Okay? And we get 6. So I'm going to add 6 to my 16 and my 42 centimeters squared. Okay? When I'm doing this, remember, I'm looking for area first. So I'm going to need to take my 16 plus my 42 plus my 6 to see if the area is the same. Now, she said the area was 34 centimeters. Do we agree? I don't. I don't think that her area is correct. So I'm going to say only her area is incorrect right now, and then we're going to count. We're going to count for the area, the perimeter. We're looking for the outside. So we know this is 4 plus the 4 that goes up the side here plus the 7 that goes this direction plus the 5 that goes this direction plus 3 this way plus another 7 this way and then plus 4 this one. We're going to get 34. So they said that the perimeter was 50 centimeters. So is she right at all? No, it looks like she's not. But just to make sure, we're going to check with the question help. Okay, so with this one, it says that the figure has the right triangle at the top, which we found. It has a parallelogram in the middle, which we found. And it has the square at the bottom. Okay, area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Area of the parallelogram is base times height. Okay, and then the area of the square is s squared. Okay, so we did find that. We found that the base was 4, the height was 3, and divided it by 2. We found that the base was 4, the height was 4, and we left it at 16. And then we found that this one had a base of 7 and a height, we were told, of 6. So we're just checking one more time. The opposite sides of the parallelogram are congruent. So when we were looking for that side length, remember I said this was 7, and that seems to be true, and that this was 4, and that seems to be true. Okay, so based on what I'm seeing, I think we're right. If we get it wrong, though, we can always use the Imagine Math teacher for help. So we're going to check. And we were right. Okay, we did find the correct areas for each and the perimeter too. Okay, So we're moving on. Okay. But like I've told you before in other videos, I am not helping you with the problem solving because that is on you. And then the practice as well. But use the notes that you just got from this video, and you can always use this video to come back to for help as well. I hope I was helpful, and I hope you feel like you learned something. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can comment on the video itself, or you can comment in Google Classroom or send me an email. Hope this helps. Have a great afternoon.